Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast. Garret Komatz here in Metro Detroit, helping talk and cover everything that there is to know in the English language about Eintracht Frankfurt, the greatest club in the Bundesliga, the greatest club in Germany, probably the greatest club in the world. But we're definitely biased here. It is a unique podcast tonight, recording this one solo. Our crew has been all over the place. Got some dealing with illness. We got some been traveling, dealing with lag. We got some that are, dealing with everything on there. So wish all the best to all of our HEFpod crew, wherever they're at, and everything on there. So rolling with this one solo tonight. So basically, to kind of give you a rundown tonight's format. Tonight, as I'm currently recording this in the early morning hours of Tuesday, um, we'll talk about what's taking place this past weekend for both the Männer and the Frauen sides and their matches. And then we're also in segment two, we're going to talk about what's coming up for both at the end of this coming week and this weekend. So let's start off with what before we get into that ways to check out um, this podcast, any of the content by the channel, starting off with the our website, hefpod.com. From there, you can see everything that there is, all prior episodes, a map of various HEFpod stuff about the podcast, ways you can reach out to the show, our live Twitter feed, Instagram feed, and all the fun content there. Shout out also to Matt in New York for all the work on the Instagram. Also, congratulations to him for getting married over the weekend. Our YouTube at Hey Eintracht Frankfurt, where we're also doing recap the Adlers. That was something looking to regularly do. Shout out to producer Nathan for that, and also for Miles in Minnesota for all the graphic and branding. Producer Nathan for all the fine work production, and Brian for running the show, and Chris for encouraging my shenanigans and all of ours. So, with that being said, we got all that out of the way. Let's get into the action. We're going to start off with the Männer Dino's lads. The tip spiel this past Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Eintracht Frankfurt taking on Borussia Mönchengladbach. A matchup that saw pretty much the most of the nucleus that's made up these last two Eintracht Frankfurt wins. Two changes from the side from the last match at Wolfsburg, that being Verscheibe in for Mario Götze, Einskar Knauff in for and Cuckoo. Looked like an out and out 4-4-2 shape. And while Eintracht Frankfurt once again comfortable with ceding possession, but utilizing their strengths. Pace with Marmoush and Ekatike, getting into spaces, and in the end, 2-0 winners. Goals in the first half by Hugo Larsson after a great ball movement goes up to Hugo Ekatike, who will comes in into the edge of the box, pulls across towards center. Einstein off with the first touch, heads it to Hugo Larsson from close range, getting his second of the year. Couple moments from Monchengladbach, one that hit the post off of Rocco Wrights, but Cal Santos was relatively in control for the most part of goal. Omar Marmoush puts the game away, makes it 2-0 the final. A great goal, great individual move. The man is on a mission right now. 4 goals in his last 3 games. The front two are moving. If you haven't checked out the Bundesliga highlight show on ESPN Plus, I highly recommend it because it just sounded. Dino Topmuller was featured at the end of it for the interview, and that sounds probably the most confident I've ever seen Dino on this side. Doesn't seem like he's any nerves. He sounds free. He sounds relaxed. Um, Growing a little bit of the facial hair out. He's got a kind of a defined style too. And I think it's safe to say too that this Adler side is developing a unique style. They're realizing their strengths this year, whereas last year seemed to be possession for the sake of possession. This year, it's like there's if you have the ball, great. If you don't have the ball as much, okay, but they're creating a lot more chances. 2.74 expected goals to Monchengladbach's 1.74, and that's just with 4 shots on target. Um, and 7 off, like goals in open play. The passes was quality. Um, Making moments out of what they had. So I think that is really promising. Looks like, and I'm looking at some of the FOTMob ratings on here. Ko Santos 8.9 in goal, Edgar Knopf 8.3, Omar Marmoush 8.0, Ekatike 7.7, Larson 7.9. Backline Christensen, Tuta, Kalk, Teta, solid. And a game that saw basically good use of subs coming on. Tahad coming on, and Kuku coming on. Before that, Matanovic, Bahoya, and then Mbembe on there. So another good side. 3 wins in a row, 3 wins and a loss out of the first 4. I can't recall an Eintracht Frankfurt start as good as this. I'll if producer Nathan wants to chime in afterwards and here in post to get his thoughts on the match, and if also he knows like when's the last time this men's side started off so good, feel free to do that, Nathan, and be able to go from there.
I didn't really watch the Frauen game, but I'll add my thoughts on the Eintracht men's team. I'm really excited about the club and how we're moving the ball around. How organizationally sound we are through defense, and then onto the transition game into the offense, and then back. That defense is super stout. It's nice to see Cook, Teat, and Tuta like just killing it back there, and then driving the ball forward. Santos will continue to get better, but I really like the support that he's been receiving from the defense, and then moving forward. There's just a lot of confidence. There's just a lot of expectations I now have, and it's just good to see Dino's check getting cashed here. Like the dividends are paying off. I'll kick it back to you.
With that said, let's wrapping up men's Bundesliga before we kick it into what took place with the Frauen. Around the Bundesliga, let's go over some other matches that took place the rest of the league this weekend. On Friday night, Augsburg and Mainz opened things up, a throw-in contest. Mainz get their first win of the year, 3-2. Both Augsburg and Mainz went down a man. Saturday, we see Bochum and Holstein Kiel, both teams with no points going into the match, both teams leaving with 1-2-2, the final there. Heidenheim hosting Freiburg, and Heidenheim stumbled. 3-0 loss. From what I've seen here, this was one where Freiburg were definitely the better side. Union Berlin with a big win, 2-1 over Hoffenheim. Werder Bremen hosted Bayern Munich, and once again, the Michael Elise show. 2 goals, 2 assists, 5-0 Bayern win. As mentioned, the Adler run over the Wolves with a 2-0 win. Moving over to Sunday, thrilling matchup in Leverkusen sees Leverkusen beat Wolfsburg 4-3. St. Pauli 0-0. RB Leipzig, the last match of the day. The big one, and some may be shocking, some on there. Serge Grassi finally got his first goal for Dortmund against his former side of Stuttgart, but that was a little too late. VfB Stuttgart 5-1 winners over Dortmund. Denis Undav got 2, Demirovic 1, Milot and Toure in the 80th minute. I'm just looking at the stats from this match, and it was something where Stuttgart had a 5 goals scored, 3.39 in the expected goals, just 9 on target, 5 in the net. Just, I think they're clicking, y'all, in there. So it's a solid, so maybe a weekend where a lot of expected results, maybe ones that were kind of a bit surprising. So wrapping up at the end of this match day for the Bundesliga table standings, Bayern Munich are tops 4 for 4, 12 points. Bayer Leverkusen and Freiburg and Eintracht Frankfurt. Three-way tie for second place with 9 points. Then you have Leipzig at fifth with 8. Union Berlin sixth, also with 8. Stuttgart Dortmund tied seventh and eighth with 7 points. Heidenheim was sixth and ninth. Mainz Werder Bremen 10th and 11th with 5 points. Augsburg 12th with 4 points. Monchengladbach behind Wolfsburg, ahead of Hoffenheim, all with 3 points. Bochum, St. Pauli, Holstein Kiel in the bottom three with 1 point. Holstein Kiel in the rock bottom, St. Pauli second from bottom. So, um, it's starting to see some things in place. 4 matches in, still early days though, as far as that goes. Moving over to the Frauen, Eintracht Frankfurt and Nico's ladies went over to Turbine Potsdam and taking on a team that has been historically, even in the Erste FFC Frankfurt years, a old foe before the rises of VfL Wolfsburg and even Bayern Munich's Frauen sides. But this was a game. I have yet to see any of the highlights from that. The match was not on the DAZN. I have not checked the club's website to see any of the highlights, but I was keeping active on the Twitter. Big day for the Frauen. Rolled in possession, rolled in the shots on target. Um, Stats were one-sided, and so were the goals. Turbine Potsdam 0, Eintracht Frankfurt Frauen 6. Laura Frage with a hat trick, Nicole Anyomi with 2 goals. Um, in there, Emil Bernhardt with an old goal. I believe Nadine Riedsen was responsible for creating that. Huge win for the Frauen. Looking at the starting lineup, Johannes in goal, Walter Dorsen, Kleinherner, Reese in your back four, Sens, Greva, Dunst in the midfield three, Reuteler, Frage, and Shiba. And then you had Anyomi, Lerson, Ramser, Sandvik, and Ailing as your subs. That's a big response for the Frauen. I think it's what we were looking to see, especially after having to work hard to get a point against Leverkusen. And yeah, I think it's, maybe a good sign on there. All right. Moving over to what took place around the rest of the Frauen Bundesliga this past weekend. Let's start off with the matchup on Friday. RB Leipzig 2-0 winners over Werder Bremen. Saturday saw 2 matches. Freiburg draw with Karl Jena 1-1. SGS Essen 0, Bayer Leverkusen 2. As mentioned, Eintracht Frankfurt Frauen with a 6-0 win at Turbine Potsdam. VfL Wolfsburg rolled over Cologne 5-1. Yeah, it was the afternoon matchup yesterday, and then on Monday, Bayern rolled 5-1 over Hoffenheim. So the table after 3 matchups shows Bayern Munich first, 3 for 3, 9 points. Eintracht Frankfurt currently holding the second spot, tied with VfL Wolfsburg and Bayer Leverkusen on points with 7 points. RB Leipzig in fifth with 6th. Freiburg, Werder Bremen, 6th and 7th with 4 points. TSG Hoffenheim 8th with 3. SGS Essen, Karl Jena, Köln 1 point. Turbine Potsdam rock bottom with 10. So we'll cover what is going around the Bundesliga in segment 2 when we go over what the big matchup for the Frauen is this weekend. Beforehand, though, we're going to transition and wrap up segment 1 with a classic Hey Eintracht Frankfurt segment. Hashtag what are we drinking? It is almost 12:30 here in the morning, and as you can tell, I'm probably a bit gravelly in voice, talked a bit. Um, I am currently just looking at a glass of water right now and about to take a swig. It has been a fantastic weekend to be not just an Eintracht Frankfurt fan, but for me personally, a Detroit sports fan with the run that the Detroit Tigers have been on, somewhat at the expense of Brian's Kansas City Royals. He's going to chime in with a comment in here. We'll see. Um, Also, the Lions rebounding and Detroit City with a FC with a big win over Louisville City FC yesterday. So a lot of things to be thankful for. And then when you account the successes of the Adler, both the Männer and the Frauen, I am definitely looking forward to the swig of water. So whatever you're drinking, wherever you're drinking, whenever you're checking this out, we say Prost. With that, we will be back shortly after this break for segment 2 of Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast. Welcome back to segment 2 of the Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast. Garret Komatz here, Metro Detroit. So we've talked about what's took place for all things Eintracht Frankfurt this past weekend. Now we got to talk about what's ahead. And starting off with the Männer, it's time for the Europa League. We are here. We have made it. We are a couple of days away from the opening of the campaign. Last week, the Europa League kits were officially unveiled. It might catch some people off guard who are used to seeing Eintracht Frankfurt wear some sort of special black kit at home. This year, all white, or as our HEFpod colleague John Bennett said it best, Bestia and Blanca. All white kit. Producer Nathan has referred to it as a Haynes T kit. If he wants to chime in with comments in here, go right on ahead.
The only thing I'll add is that I think it's kind of sad that we're all looking forward to next year already. The season hasn't really even begun yet. Eintracht looks good, but in terms of the kits, no one's happy. At least 2 strikes, maybe more. And everyone's looking forward to next year before even Europa happens. So I think that's kind of pathetic on the side of the club and on Nike, who, both are guilty of punting this one to next year.
I kind of refer to it as the ice cream kits. There seems to be a cool pattern within the shirt personally, but there's something about this Nike template that I just can't stand. And it seems like the shoulders, you can see the visible connection between the body of the shirt and where the shoulders meet. Like it's 2 separate patterns, and it just kills the design to me. And I've said it before repeatedly, I am looking forward to bespoke templates from Adidas. If Footy Headlines is as accurate as they're saying that they are, hashtag 3-stripe life. But I am intrigued. I think going away from the all black under the nighttime skies of Herzen von Europa for the all white is a change. But it's a clean look, and may they be successful as possible in these kits on these European nights. So it all starts 3 p.m. Eastern this coming Thursday on Paramount Plus at the Waldstadion. Eintracht Frankfurt hosting Victoria Pilsen in the Czech, who are currently 3rd in the Czech Liga. 5 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. They are 5 points behind both Sparta Prague and Slavia Prague. 15 goals scored in 8 games, 6 goals allowed. I'm looking at some player stats right now. It seems like Pavel Sulch is the leader with 5 goals on there, and it looks like they kind of roll an old Eintracht Frankfurt shape of a 3 in the back, 3-4-1-2 seems like what they rolled with in their last match, which was a 3-0 loss at Slavia Prague. So I think it's I want to say on paper this looks like a good result, good matchup for us to get something out of this, start the Europa League campaign off well. But you have to, you can't just rest on your laurels. I feel like when it came to European football last year, Eintracht Frankfurt tried to rest on their laurels, in my own opinion. In the group stage in the Conference League, and they got burned with 2 losses to PAOK Thessaloniki and losing to Aberdeen. And as a result of that, not winning the group, meaning that they had to play in the knockouts in February against the Unions, unfortunately drawing against a very informed Union St. Gilles side. blowing a 2-goal lead in Belgium in Leg 1 and not turning up on home soil in Leg 2 and getting eliminated, which I argue might have been the low. We thought there were a lot of low points last year, and I think that might have been the lowest, up there with the lowest for me, um, was not getting eliminated on home soil in European play. So I think now that they qualified for Europa League, there's this new format. The squad seems to be motivated, like wanting to play with each other. I think it could be a lot of fun, but we'll see. 3 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, the 26th of September, and entering fall in here. It'll be on Paramount Plus, so that'll be 3 Eastern, 2 Central, and noon Pacific time. So for the Pacific folks, you got a nice lunch to go to. Maybe take an extended one for that. So moving forward for the next matchup in the Chrono is with the Männer on Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. A trip to the current bottom of the table and New Boys hosting Kiel. 9:30 a.m. Eastern for that one. So this will be the first time that both sides will be playing each other in top flight play. So I really got no expectations on. I mean, as far as like, I need to see how we do on Thursday against Victoria Pilsen, and then I just wonder how much how different is the side going to be on Thursday night compared to the one we've been seeing in Bundesliga play these last few matches, and then also what to potentially how much rotation from that match on Thursday will we have on this Sunday. So I think if this team plays the way that they've been playing, you should be able to get 3 points. You should definitely, if you're somewhat off, definitely leave with one. But I think you should, I don't want to say you should completely 100% expect to win because it also is the Lanish Diva. And when that means, obviously, moody is a fucking understatement at times. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I would say if Dino's lads have been playing like they have been lately, 3 points should happen at Holstein Kiel. Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So we will see how that goes. But I'm going to go briefly around the Bundesliga of what else is taking place this coming weekend in matches as I'm getting out of the Frauen Bundesliga calendar to the men's one. Friday opens things up, a Rhine battle between Dortmund and Bochum. And then moving into the Saturday fixtures, Monchengladbach, Union Berlin, Freiburg, St. Pauli, Mainz, Heidenheim, RB Leipzig, Augsburg, Wolfsburg, Stuttgart. Those are all the 9:30 a.m. Eastern matches. 12:30, Bayern Munich, Leverkusen, 1 versus 2 um, Oktoberfest weekend for Bayern Munich, so I know they're wearing their special kits. Leverkusen, um, obviously with the early setback at Leipzig, are they looking to prove that last year was not just a one-off? So a couple fun bits of narrative, I think, for that one. Obviously, we talked about Holstein Kiel Eintracht Frankfurt at 9:30. Hoffenheim Werder Bremen closes out the match day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. So um, plenty of things to look forward to, not just on the Eintracht Frankfurt end, but also the rest of the Bundesliga. Um, I'll kind of kick it to producer Nathan if he's available to kind of get some thoughts. All right. So we've covered what's taking place for the men this weekend. Now let's go back to the Frauen. And the Frauen have the next matchup on Sunday after the men. And it is a very, very juicy fixture. It's VfL Wolfsburg weekend, 11 a.m. Eastern on Sunday, September the 29th. I'm not seeing anything yet on if it is on DAZN. Haven't checked the TV listings, but it is second versus third, both teams 2 wins and a draw. Eintracht Frankfurt 10 goals scored, 2 allowed. VfL Wolfsburg 9 goals scored, 4 allowed. Um, I think it is going to be a big fixture, early lanes, especially for where not just a battle for second, but if Bayern do slip up at some point, maybe you can make a play. But no excuses. I think this is a match for Eintracht Frankfurt to prove if they want to get out of that third to get into the top two, you got to beat Wolfsburg at least once, um, and you're on home soil for it. So to the ladies, all the best. Get it done. Rest of the matchups in around the Bundesliga, Frauen Bundesliga this week. Bayer Leverkusen Hoffenheim opens things up at 12:30 p.m. Eastern this Friday, the 27th of September. On the 28th of September, you have two matches: Köln versus Freiburg at 6 a.m. Eastern. Oof. Turbine Potsdam, RB Leipzig at 8 a.m. And then Sunday, you have Werder Bremen Bayern Munich at 8 before Eintracht Frankfurt Wolfsburg at 11. And then Monday at noon, Carly Siena SKS Essen. So um, I think there'll be plenty of football. I would think that Eintracht Frankfurt Wolfsburg is going to be on DAZN. I'll leave the producer Nathan if he's got any notes on that, or um, be on the lookout later on this week. I'm sure one of us at HEFpod, whether it's the Twitter, Instagram, or any other feeds, will keep people in the loop. I'll see also too if there's a chance that I can get this dropped on our thing here in Detroit and the surrounding metropolitan area. But big weekend, nonetheless. Another big weekend for Eintracht Frankfurt as a club in general, Männer and Frauen. So, with that being said, I think that is time for me to wrap things up and to begin the process of bidding adieu. So we've already talked about all the ways you can check out the Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast and all the social media forums. We'll keep people in the loop of any other big events that's taken place. Personally, you can find me Twitter, Instagram, Discord at GM Comats, and you can find Eintracht Frankfurt Detroit on Twitter at Detroit SGA. With the match being early on Sunday, I do not see a watch party at this one, and with it being Thursday at 3, I'm not leaving work for this one. So be on the lookout. There should be something soon coming up the next time we have a top spiel, or maybe even an end of like a Friday afternoon one. So we'll keep everybody in the lookout. But there's good times going on. Exciting reasons from what we're seeing on the field. We hope that these good vibes continue. And so for myself here, Garrett Comats here in the Metro Detroit area, to anyone checking this out, wherever you are, whenever you are, we say thank you very much. As we are now by the looks of it, I believe we are at this is episode 326, which is a wild thing to say. Maybe even more than that. I'm losing train of thought because I know there's been transfer specials, so I'm going to look this up real quick before I close this up, just because I want to nail this. So, to get it right here, although technology might be holding off on me on here. Let's see. Spotify be my guide. We are at, come on. I'm surprised that there won't be any Jeopardy theme or anything in the background on here. Yeah, episode 327. So it's wild that we are already in 327 episodes in this deep. Shout out again, as always, to Brian for running things, producer Nathan for all the fine content, especially when dealing with a delay as me trying to figure out what episode this is. But for everybody, thanks for checking this out. All the best to everyone. And until next time, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, auf sure. Tschüss, Fórza SGE.
Frankfurt, sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, sha-la-la-la-la-la-la.